What's up guys, and welcome to another ARC Garage video. Today we're gonna be diagnosing my friend's Golf Mark 5 for battery drain issues. We've already tested the battery and alternator and everything checks out. Now we're going to perform the parasitic battery drain test. However, this video is not going to be specifically about that. If you want to learn how to properly do battery drain test, you got video link in the description which explains step-by-step procedure. First thing we're gonna do is check the battery voltage. We got 12.4 volts, which is not a fully charged battery, but it's enough to perform this test. As I mentioned in previous videos, the best practice is to perform the battery drain test on the negative side, since there's no chance of creating a short if you touch the grounded part of your car. We got our usual setup here. The positive multimeter lead is hooked up to the negative cable, while negative lead is hooked up to the battery negative, which is secured by a clamp. As you can see right here, we got approximately an amp of current draw while everything is off, and as you might already know, that's quite a bit more than allowed. Now we're gonna start pulling out fuse by fuse to see if we can find the component responsible for this amperage draw. The acceptable amperage draw is 50 milliamps. We got few more fuses left right here. If we don't get change from any of these, we're gonna have to move to the fuse box inside of the car. Okay, it seems that we are getting some kind of change here. The amperage is dropping, although slowly for some reason, but it seems that whichever component is powered through this fuse might be the reason for our battery drain. Now we're gonna go check out the fuse box diagram. So it's a third fuse from the bottom in the middle row, and it's a 10 amp fuse. Here's our fuse box diagram, and our fuse is fuse number 24, which is in charge of the data bus diagnostic interface, or in other words, is basically a fuse for VW CAN bus gateway module, which is in charge of the communication among all of the modules inside of the car. We're also going to be interested in the radio fuse, since my friend told me that he's put a new radio from the Golf Mark 6. So these older VW cars have a problem with these newer radios. They are basically not able to shut them off completely, and that's exactly where we would get our battery drain from. So what we are basically going to do, we're going to take one of the empty unused slots from our fuse box, and we're going to power our radio from it, and basically bypass the CAN bus gateway module altogether. Radio fuse is out. As you can see right here, we are getting 50 milliamps of current draw, which is acceptable. Okay, the idea here is to find one of these empty fuse slots, which is basically powered only when the key is in on position. And this one right here, marked in green, is in charge of the automatic transmission, and since this car does not have one, we're going to use this fuse to power our radio. As I just mentioned, the radio is going to work only when the key is in on position. When you turn off the car, the radio is also gonna lose its power. Now that we got the fuse which gives us power when the key is in on position, we gotta figure out which side of this slot is giving us 12 volts. You gotta take your multimeter and check for voltage on both sides. In our case, the bottom side of the slot is giving us 12 volts when the key is in on position, so we're gonna use that side of the slot to power our radio. Let's continue to the radio fuse or radio slot, whatever you want to call it. We also got to figure out which side of this slot right here is getting 12 volts. And when you figure out which side is getting 12 volts, that's actually the side that we are not going to use. We are actually going to use the side which is not getting any voltage whatsoever. As you can see right here, the side that we are getting the 12 volts from is actually the left side of the slot. That's the side that we want to avoid. We're gonna use the right side basically to give the power to the radio. Just to go over it one more time, we are taking the power from the spare fuse, or actually the empty fuse slot from the fuse number 28, and we are giving the power to the right side of the radio fuse. To accomplish everything I just said, you'll need a fuse for your radio, you'll need 2 male connectors, 2 wires, and you'll also need 2 female connectors. And here's how my finished product actually looks like. When we put it all together, this is what we get. Make sure that you insulate everything well. Use shrink insulators, use thick wires, and make sure that everything is tight and well connected. Now we gotta plug everything in and we gotta see if our solution works. Here's our theory in practice right here. Okay, let's turn on the key, try out the radio, and it works. When we turn the key off, the radio turns off. If you were wondering if the radio keeps its memory, I gotta say that everything works exactly like it should. The radio remembers the radio stations and it doesn't ask for the radio code every time you turn on the car. We also did one more battery drain test after we finished with this, and everything looked great. The drain is maybe like 50 milliamps. This could have also been solved the other way. We could actually reprogram the CAN bus gateway module so it recognizes the newer radios, but that solution was much more expensive and more complicated, since I don't have tools to reprogram the modules on VW vehicles. That's it for this video. If you liked it, hit the like button and support our channel by hitting subscribe.